Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to LinkedIn Tuesday. It's January 20th, 2026. We're very glad you're with us this afternoon. Please note this event will be recorded. The recording will be on the Career USA YouTube channel for anyone to view in the future. By participating in this event, you give consent for your name and picture to appear. Please note that any comments you put in the Zoom chat window will not appear in the recording. For everybody who's on Zoom, LinkedIn is all about connecting with other people. I recommend if you can open up your chat window, put in your name, put in the position you're looking for, put in 2 or 3 target companies, give us your email address, your LinkedIn address, and if you can help somebody else with contacts at a company, let us know what those are too, because we're all here to help everybody else. That's what LinkedIn is about, connecting everybody who's here together. Well, good afternoon. My name is Jeff Morris. Back in 2008, I started a website called careerdfw.org, a website to help those unemployed in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. In 2012, I launched careerusa.org to help those around the United States. I have written a book called What I've Learned About Your Job Search That You May Not Know. It is available on Amazon, or if you see me in person, I usually have copies with me. Since 2007, I've been facilitating and leading the North Dallas Plano Career Focus Group. That group's been around since the late 1990s, and I took it over in 2007 when the prior leader landed a job. And I'll tell you about our upcoming program at the end of this session. And since 2017, I've been a member of the practice interview team, also known as the PIC Crew. Don't wait until you have an interview to schedule an interview. Practice early, practice often. You want to practice with us because we'll give you feedback. You don't get feedback when you go to a real company. For more information, just go to dallaspiccrew.com. Well, we have 4 outstanding speakers who rotate through on a monthly basis. Today, our speaker is Ruth Lipsky. She's a career coach working for Lee Harrison. She helps job seekers on a daily basis. And today, her topic is LinkedIn tools for job seekers. So, Ruth, Happy New Year. Nice to see you this year. And it's all yours.
So nice to see you, and thank you so much for setting these things up and ensuring that we have the opportunity to be able to exchange information and make sure that everybody knows the capabilities and what's out there as far as tools for you, particularly for LinkedIn. Everyone has a different view of LinkedIn because everybody's needs are a little bit different. So LinkedIn is never going to be an absolute for you. Somebody who looks at your profile is going to say, oh my gosh, you are spectacular. The next person is going to say, it could be improved in a couple ways. People are making judgment calls, and you're not going to be able to find anything that is an absolute. So we're just going to try and find the way to please most people by using the tools that are available to us. So the first thing to know is that when a recruiter is looking for someone on LinkedIn, and about 30% of the jobs that are being offered to people these days are coming from a recruiter who is doing a silent search, looking on LinkedIn, either using the LinkedIn recruiter software or just going out and doing a Boolean search in the search bar. But they're going to be putting in titles, and they're going to be talking about skills, and they might put geographic locations in there also as part of their search, because even though a lot of jobs are going to be remote, they still prefer people who are fairly close in the geographic area in case they do need to bring them back into the office. So what happens when they do the basic search? Title, geographic location, skills. In this case, this recruiter is looking for a project manager job in the Chicago metropolitan area, picked out 2 skills, business strategy and analytics, and got 42,798 results. These are the profiles that LinkedIn says have at least part of your search available on their profile. LinkedIn is going to give the recruiter the information in the order that they feel is best suited and a closest match to that search. And LinkedIn never does anything randomly. So there's a reason why Emily Dalton came up number one, Channing Curry came up number three, Aubrey Mackey came up number three. LinkedIn feels that these are the best choices, but it does give the recruiter a lot of spotlight features that they'll be able to start doing some additional filtering of these 42,000 people. So, spotlights. Are they open to work? Recruiters don't want to waste their time trying to talk somebody away from a job. If you are willing to look for another job, if you are available for interviewing right now, if you are going to be able to join the company quickly, they want to hear from you. You're at the top of their list. They also want people who are company connections. If you are connected to anybody in their company, they feel you probably know a little bit more about their company, about their products, about their culture, about their strategic goals. So they want to talk to you because they think there's an interest there. But the real one, are you interested in their company? Are you following their company on LinkedIn? Have you indicated to the recruiters that you are interested in the company? And recruiters are looking for active talent on LinkedIn, which means they're looking for people who are posting, commenting, updating their profile, making sure that they have some activity on a weekly basis to indicate that they are serious about utilizing LinkedIn as a source. So one of the things that you might notice immediately is that in this information that LinkedIn is giving them, there's not an awful lot of detail. You get the person's name and their headshot. You get their current title. You get their previous title. And you get their headline. That's not a lot of information for the recruiter to go on. This is really a compressed piece of information. But the only real way that a recruiter is going to be intrigued or interested in you is by the information that you put in that headline area. That area right underneath your name, in this case, project manager at Cisco, senior project manager at this company, engineering project manager at this company. That information is what the LinkedIn recruiter is going to say, I need to see more. So, rule number one, have an amazing, detailed headline. And that's one of the things that we're going to be talking about today's agenda. We're going to be talking about what brings a recruiter to your profile and how you're going to impress the recruiter with your skills, your activities. And we're going to talk about the spotlight features that the recruiters use and how you need to understand them in order to use them properly. So, first one, that attention grabbing headline. If you are someone who has very specific skills that are associated with success, you put that in your headline. So in this case, full stack application developer who is able to use SQL, JavaScript, AWS, Node.js. These are things that a recruiter is going to be interested in because they're looking for somebody with this title and these skills. Got it right up on top. Don't have to look much further. If you are in a broader job where there may be a lot of skills that could contribute to success, but it depends on what type of work you do, project manager and program manager can have a lot of different responsibilities depending on where they are in the organization, how high a level they are, if they're in one department versus another. So putting in what the specialization is. Even something like an accountant, increasing productivity in highly regulated industries. Customer experience manager. As you get higher up in an organization, you start moving away from individual skills and start moving toward a value statement. And a value statement is what you do on a strategic basis. So, customer experience manager, raise satisfaction scores, and then give a metric. Metrics are great in a headline because it brings the attention to a result. Customer relations, innovating customer satisfaction one experience at a time. Certainly a lot better than just saying Director of Customer Relations at this company. So you have 220 characters in the headline area. use it to put your best skills, use it to put a value statement, use it to show the recruiter that you're the one that they need to be looking at more closely for whatever job it is that they're looking at. Any questions on headlines? Because that's a big part of success. You can either just shout them out or you can put them in the chat. Jeff is going to be keeping track of the chat conversations.
Is there a guidance on how many skills or titles, or just fill up 220 characters?
It's going to depend on what kind of title you're looking for. If you are sure that there is just one title that you are aiming for, you can put that in. Normally, 2 titles is better because the exact match on a title is a huge part of the algorithm. So putting 2 different titles, even if they are different parts of an organization, and then either putting in the skills that are associated with success in that job or putting in a value statement utilizing X to achieve Y. Does that work?
Yep, thank you.
Okay. All right, let's go. One of the things that LinkedIn has done fairly recently is that it has provided a verification check mark that indicates that you're a real person or that somebody has said that you're a real person. The verification badge shows that you're not a robot. And there are a lot of scams out there where there are profiles that look real and feel real, but it is really an artificial person or it is a robot of some sort. So being able to ensure that you indeed are using that is going to be an important part. So if we're taking a look at, and I've got my Valentine's Day background up already. I change mine every couple weeks. The verification check mark is going to be here. If you don't have it, there will be a note there saying add verification. But when you're in this area, you'll be able to either use a company ID if you're still employed, where the company verifies that you as an individual are employed by that company, or you can upload your passport or your driver's license, any government issued ID in order to get that check mark. LinkedIn does not keep that information. It wipes it out completely. It goes through Clear, which is a government ID program. So you're not putting that out in any public space. You're just saying that you are identified by a government ID. But it's an important part of making sure that the recruiter understands who you are. So if you're looking for a job because you've been laid off or because you have opted to leave the company for some reason, you are going to need to close out that job at some point. You need to show that you're no longer employed. And you generally do that at about the 2-month part. You're going to be able to keep it open for a little bit of time, but you generally want to have some type of explanation as to why you're not employed. And LinkedIn gives you 2 choices on how you do that. So one of them is that you can add a career break. The career break allows you to select a feature that says, this is why I'm not employed right now. And great that they added that in. It is a filler for a gap in your employment record. If you had a gap 10 years ago of 6 months or more, adding a career break is a good thing to be able to do to indicate why you had that period of time. If you have something less than 3 months, you generally don't need to add a career break. The problem with the career break is that it means you're still unemployed. And one of the filters that the recruiters use a lot in the LinkedIn recruiter software is I'm looking for these skills and I'm looking for these skills in the most recent job. And you no longer have a most recent job because you've closed out your role. So instead, you might want to add a placeholder job. And the placeholder job is going to be an area where you add in a new job. You put in as many titles as you want. You've got 100 characters on here. Fill them up with anything that you want. But you do need to have a company, and the company can be something you create yourself, or you can use one of the companies that have been created already on LinkedIn. But within this new job, you're going to put everything that you did from your previous role, because everything you did in that last role, you want the recruiters to be able to see. So being able to add that to your profile as a new job. So in your experience area, you got the plus mark. You can add that career break, and the career break allows you to take any of these. Don't do it unless it's from something in the past. What you do want to do is when you're closing out your job, you're going to want to add a position. And in that position, titles, you don't care about employment type, but the company name is a required field. And people have created companies on LinkedIn so that you can add any of these just to indicate that it's not a real job. But I'm looking for a job, and looking for a job is a full-time role. So I'm going to give you all of the experience that I have, everything that I am doing. And in this description area, 2,000 characters, put as much information in here as you can. All of your stories, all of your skills, because this is the area that has a very high algorithm worth. Only the about section and the headline section have a higher worth on the algorithm. So skills that are in here are going to be counted as useful and are able to be used immediately in a new job. So add your experience. The other thing that you want to do is that as you take a look at the title that your company gave you, it may not be a good representation of what you actually did. So in my LinkedIn, LHH gave me the title of career consultant, but it's also known as career coach in a lot of the industry. So I put a pipe in between these two, and I translated my title into something that might be useful in another industry. So putting in this means the same thing as that in a different world, in a different industry, in a different area of the country. The other thing that you can do is if you had a title that did not necessarily indicate what you did, then in parentheses, you can put in additional titles. So at Transamerica, I was senior manager of training and development, but my goal of with these 12 people who reported to me was to move all of the training from classroom to virtual training. And during that time, I really got really good as an instructional designer and an e-learning developer. So I put those on the title line to say, this is really the work that I did that describes my work better. So if you were given a title in a company and you feel that that does not translate well or does not indicate what you actually did, add more of them, add more titles. Once again, you got 100 characters there. Titles are a huge part of the actual algorithm. Use that space. Now, skills are an important part of what you're putting into your profile. And LinkedIn is giving us the opportunity to find out what skills are going to be the most important. And the ones that are going to be useful in a job search can be found on a separate LinkedIn site. This is not attached to your profile page or any of the tabs within your profile page. LinkedIn has different company pages that contain information, in this case, future of work, workforce data. Here's their blog on what they're doing, how they're doing it. But this one is find new jobs, the skills you already have. And what it allows you to do is that it says, take a job like program manager. Here are the skills that LinkedIn thinks a program manager should have, and they are in the order of importance. So the ones at the top are generally a little bit more technical. The ones at the bottom might not be as much. And generally, these are all going to be more the technical skills rather than the soft skills like communication. Leadership is unusual to be found in here. But if you are uncertain as to which of those 1,000 skills that you have need to be in your profile, here's a good way of looking at it. The other thing that LinkedIn is going to allow you to do on this page is, where do I go next? If I've got program manager skills and I want to change it to a different type of role and I want to pivot just slightly into something else, you go to this area and say, I want something that uses similar skills. So program management specialist is going to be something that is a really close match. It will tell you what skills you don't have and that you might want to pick up. And it will give you, here are the skills specifically for this new job versus the skills that you have in your old job or your current job and what you have in common. So you can find things that are either program manager. Do you want to be a real estate agent? Okay, not a big match, but it is something that might have an interest to somebody who's been a program manager. But there's a lot that you would have to build in order to go there. This section is not quite as compelling. Most people have a pretty good feel for, if I have done this job for a couple of years, I have a pretty good idea of what I want to do next. And if I do want to pivot, I'm probably comfortable with the types of roles that I want to move to. If not, that this is good. But this is great for looking at the skills that LinkedIn thinks you should have in order to be considered an expert in your role. So put that in the chat. Or did you already do that? Because that's a hard one to find. One of the things that recruiters are interested in making a determination as to whether on who they want to talk to is they're going to prioritize people who have expressed an interest in their company. And the way to do that is that each company has a page on LinkedIn. And you're going to be able to find it by using the search bar up at the top here. So if somebody could shout out the name of a company they're interested in, I'll use that as an example.
Common Sense Media.
Say it again.
Common Sense Media.
There it is. LinkedIn is going to bring you up a bunch of information about it. So it's going to give you an opportunity to link to the page, find the people within that, but you're going to click on the company name itself, and this will take you to the LinkedIn company page, not the page that it has on the web for normal activity. But in this area, it will be able to tell you a little bit more information. And the first thing you want to do is to follow the company. When you follow the company, that allows the company to put information on your homepage. So every time they want to talk about how good they're doing in the marketplace, every time they want to talk about a new product, every time they want to give you information about employee engagement activities, you've said, I want to hear about this. So following the company is your first step of saying, I like your company, give me more information. You've got some information down here about the company also. And in the About section, there is often going to be a box that says, are you interested in working with us in the future? You're going to click I'm interested because now they know that instead of following the company for investment reasons, you're following the company because you want to work there. Clicking the I'm interested is the start of the handshake with a recruiter where they're going to prioritize you because they know that you've already got an interest and they're not going to have to explain who they are, what they do, why it's beneficial to come to their company. You're easy. And recruiters will always take a shortcut and deal with the people who are qualified, but who have already made a statement on, I like your company. I'd like to be there too. So I'm interested. Then you're going to go to the People tab because on the People tab, LinkedIn is going to tell you the number of employees that this company has that also have a LinkedIn profile. Gives you the opportunity to see where they live so that you can narrow it down to the area that you think is more appropriate for the people, where they studied. What they do tells you what department they work in. Do you want to know all the people in the business development team? There's 79 of them. You can take a look at them. What they're skilled at and what they studied, I've never been terribly interested in, but it will tell you if you're connected to anybody within this company as a first degree connection. People move around a lot in the business world, and you probably don't know where everybody is working these days. This tells you, I'm interested in this company. Has anybody moved here that I can rely on to give me a recommendation? Well, I've got two people who are second degree connections, which means they're not in my network, but somebody else's network has people in common with me. And I can take a look at who they are. Okay, might be useful. A second degree connection, you can sometimes send a note to and say, I see we have people in common in our LinkedIn networks. I am interested in Common Sense Media as a possible career move. How do you like working there? Let's connect. Being able to give people some information about why you want to connect with them is going to be important. But we do know, and let's just keep it in the United States right now, 253 people in the United States. We also know that the people who are most likely to connect with you in a company are going to be recruiters. Because recruiters spend time on LinkedIn, they're generally more active on LinkedIn and are probably going to be more understanding of why you're connecting. So if we're looking for recruiters in the United States, there are only two of them. You can connect with both. Quite often, if there's a long list of them, or if it's a larger company, you might have to scroll down and start using some of these other filters. But when you search for recruiter, it's going to be not just people with a recruiter title, it's going to be everybody who was ever a recruiter. So sometimes you have to sort those people out too. But let's say that you want to connect with somebody here. Never use the white connect button on a laptop or a computer because that gives it the I'd like to be part of your network message, which is a pretty weak way of getting people to connect with you. Instead, click on their name or their profile picture and it will take you to their profile page. Their profile page will have a blue connect button, and a blue connect button on your laptop or computer always allows you to personalize a message. If you don't see a blue connect, then normally these three dots, which always mean more, will have a connect feature over to the side here. But being able to connect with recruiters, connect to at least somebody in the company that might have the same title that you have, that you think might be a hiring manager, all of those are going to be reasonable ways to find people to connect to. Questions on finding people, on connecting to companies, of letting recruiters know where you are. Let's try one more thing as far as connections go and networking. Somebody give me the name of a college or university that they've attended.
the University of Texas at Austin.
There you go. If you are attending that now, then you'll already be following it. We're going to look for schools. And I'd say this is it right here. So, University of Texas at Austin. When you're on this site, you're going to be looking at the alumni. So you've attended the University of Texas, Austin. You don't care about jobs, you don't care about posts, you don't care about working there, but you do care about the alumni. And when you bring up the list of alumni, now it gives you where they work. And if you're interested in finding another company, does anybody work at Capital One? Aha, a whole bunch of them do. You can find people to connect with you through your university because alumni groups are one of the strongest ways of connecting to people. I see you also attended UTA. I enjoyed my time there. I applied for this role at this company. How do you like working there? Let's connect. Being able to connect through a university is a positive way to do it because they're good feelings about college days, college experience, things that you shared together. Even if you were 30 years apart, there's still going to be an alumni connection. You can also use this alumni connection if you've got kids in college. If you're paying tuition, you own that college. You can use that too. I see you also attended UTA. My son enjoys his time there. I'm doing this. So spouses, parents, children, brothers, sisters, use their schools in order to get an introduction. That's where you need to put your attention. Make the recruiter see you. Connect with the people in a company who are going to be useful to you. And you can do that through schools more often than not. Okay, so we've let the company know that we're interested in them through LinkedIn. You can also have conversations outside of LinkedIn if you know the people and are able to message them in other ways. But LinkedIn is built for networking. And we showed how to set up the interest following the company by hitting the follow button. Click on the interest button so that they know that you're interested in working there, and then connecting to employees, at least one person in each company that you're targeting. And be visible. LinkedIn is going to reward you for activity on LinkedIn. And the more often, let's say 3 to 4 times a week, that you're on LinkedIn, either searching for a job, updating your skills, changing something in your profile, finding other people that you want to be connecting with, LinkedIn rewards you. It's their loyalty program reward. You use my LinkedIn tools, I will reward you by bringing you up higher on the searches that the recruiters are doing that you're qualified for. So, more activity is good. Now, one of the problems that we find on social media, LinkedIn is social media, is that there are people who are out to scam you. And as part of your job search, you need to make sure that you're protecting yourself and you're protecting your identity. So let's talk a little bit about what this is going to look like. You got a couple different types of scams that you're going to be seeing. One is that it's a fake recruiter, it's a fake job. They're going to try and engage you. They are trying to get you to provide personal information so that they can steal either that information or money directly from you. There could be offers to to coach you through a better LinkedIn, a better resume. And the number of times people fall for this are those who are uncertain as to whether they've got a good enough LinkedIn profile. But they're trying to get money, but they're not going to do anything for you. Identity harvesting is just general getting as much information from you. They're going to file fake unemployment claims, so they get the unemployment money instead of you. There could be tax fraud in here. They could open credit cards in your name. And then payment for equipment, you get the job offer. They say, pay us this amount so that we can send you the information. You'll be able to get a return on that money as soon as we process you through. Don't do it. Don't send anybody money. So, Chandra, question?
Yes, I've it was a scam that I had. It was like a woman who's trying to say, like from Manpower. She's like, do a better resume. That's the exact same thing you're talking about. And
Now,
I felt,
there's sometimes when that's valid. There are people on LinkedIn who are willing to help you with resumes,
yeah,
but there are some scams out there too.
absolutely.
Could you tell
'Cause
it was a scam?
yeah, I could tell because I do my resume the best I can.
Good for you. Anytime you feel uncomfortable, which is just where Chandra's going here, if you feel that it's not quite right, that it smells in some way, walk away from it. It's not worth losing anything because of these scams. Here's some red flags. If you're taking a look at a recruiter profile, so the recruiter contacted you, you look them up on LinkedIn as you normally would. If their profile is less than a year old, that can be a problem because a lot of times the scam artists are going to be opening up a profile and then closing it down once people start getting onto them. If the photo looks too good, the most recent scam that I saw had as the headshot, the person was actually a premier of the United Kingdom from 20 years ago. So if you were from the UK and you recognized it as a previous PM, you probably knew it, but in the United States you didn't. If the dates on their job history are messed up, if they don't have many connections, recruiters always have connections. The first thing they do is they connect to everybody in the company, right? So if they have a low number, that can be a problem. Just a red flag. In the employment area, if they are saying that they are part of a company, but you go to the company page and take a look at employees and they're not on that page, then they're probably not a real employee of that company. And if they don't have that verification shield next to their name, it means that they have not verified themselves. And that's a big red flag because recruiters want to be positioning themselves as reliable, as being an employee of a company. If you don't have the verification, could be a problem. There's more. Language patterns. If they start saying immediate hire, limited slots, but don't tell you the specifics about it. But if they're pushing in order to get you to make a decision quickly without having a thoughtful consideration, it's a problem. The process itself, if there's no interview, if they try and take you off of the LinkedIn or off of a company site, if they are asking for personal information because that's normal pre-employment verification. It is a standard background check we do before we start the interview process. No, they don't. Companies don't do that. Companies don't want your personal information until after the job offer has been made and it's a legitimate offer. And if it comes so quickly, because sometimes it's 24 to 48 hours. Oh my gosh, you're magnificent, you're wonderful, here's your job. Then they start collecting information. And if they're pushing you off LinkedIn too quickly to go onto other forms of meetings, and they won't share their company email or their calendar, don't do it. So here's an example of what one might look like. Quite often they have names that are very normal. but would be difficult to find because they're too common. What you do if you think that you are being approached by somebody who is not real, stop responding. Don't try and respond to anything. Take a screenshot of everything that they send you and keep it in a separate folder and report it. LinkedIn will allow you to report it on report profile. You should report it to the company that they are representing if it's a real company. So sometimes it's going to be a fake company that just looks like a good series of words that could be a company. But if they're representing themselves from a company and they don't show up on the LinkedIn company page as an employee, that company needs to be notified because they have steps they need to take. And if there is money involved, then the FTC wants to see it also. So when you're on LinkedIn and you are on your profile page and you feel that there is a scam in process, you're going to go to the me icon up here and you're going to go to the help. And in help, you are going to be putting in report profile. And it's going to give you a couple options. And the first one is, do you think it's a fake profile? Do you think there's a scam associated with this fake profile? This is where LinkedIn is really good. They are not really good at combining two different profiles into one. They are not good at fixing problems, but they're really good about fakes and scams. So if you think that there's something going on that you're not comfortable with, by all means, report them so it can be stopped. Any questions on that? And just some statistics in general. You're trying to gain the attention of a recruiter, of a hiring manager, and you want to set up your profile so that you have as much information in there as possible. At one time, we used to think that you don't tell the whole story in your resume or on your LinkedIn profile because you want to provide just enough to get their interest where they want to learn more. That's not true anymore. You're talking to a robot when you're on LinkedIn and when you're in an applicant tracking system for a company with your resume. They don't respond to partial information. They're looking for actual skills, actual numbers. So keeping in mind that these things are generally going to increase the number of times a recruiter is going to be able to pick you as the person to look at as they are going through the full list of profiles that have come back in response to a search. Just keep those in mind. Okay, questions? Questions about anything on LinkedIn?
Yeah, we have a question in the chat when it says for some reason a video and audio not working. What if you took a career break and you just recently started looking for a job? Should I include both a career break and a most recent job?
And generally, the most recent job is going to cover it. So in an interview, they will probably ask what you did during that time frame, but you could use both depending on how long a time it was. So if you took off time for a year, that probably deserves to have a separate list of here's why I was out, and you can use the career break that LinkedIn gives, but you always need to have a real honest to goodness placeholder on your LinkedIn profile.
Tom asked, are there recommendations? There are certain recommendations that are better to have than others.
Any recommendation is going to be positive. A recommendation is one of the great ways of boosting your score because every day LinkedIn is going to look at what you did, what information you have, how much you've got filled out on your profile, and a recommendation gives you a huge boost, whether you write one or whether you receive one. Having one that comes from somebody who worked closely with you, either a manager, a direct report, or a close peer, is generally more interesting to a recruiter. The LinkedIn algorithm doesn't distinguish it. The LinkedIn algorithm is going to give you credit for anything, but the recruiter is going to feel that that is a better recommendation if it comes from somebody who's got firsthand knowledge of your work.
And you want your recommendations to be from 2023, 2024, in the last couple of years. You don't, when I see recommendations from 2014, I go, oh, that doesn't really count anymore. So you want to try to have some current recommendations.
And if you had a great recommendation from 10 years ago that you don't want to get rid of, you can always get back with that person and say, could you resend that recommendation, because they've got it in their file? Could you resend that recommendation? I'd like to have it higher on my LinkedIn profile. And they can resend it and it will come in with a new date.
Right.
But be careful, because it probably does relate to a job that was a little bit longer ago.
Right. Marty, I see your hand up.
Hi, great information. I appreciate it. A unique scenario for myself. I'm just going to get your opinion real fast. Company I worked for had an asset sale, and it was partially acquired. The rest of the operations wound down and ceased to exist. The new company kept me on board on a full-time basis through the transition, and then eliminated the position. So putting that on resumes and LinkedIn looks like a 6-week or an 8-week employment with no real job description or job duties. What's your recommendation for how to make that look good to the eyes of recruiters and everybody else?
I would probably go back to, let's go to in your experience section, you've got the ability to put in comments in your job title, and being able to put in a title and then say transition expertise or transition expert, so that it indicates that you were part of an ongoing piece of activity. And within your description, start off by saying contract role or part-time or a short-term role to finalize the sale of the company, needed for technical expertise and capabilities. Something about why you would be there. But yes, they're going to look at it and they're going to say, ooh, short time. Wonder why. Make sure that that's really visible, because it only shows 2 lines of what could be a huge piece of description.
Mm-hmm.
In those 2 lines, you need to be able to describe why it is you were there and why they wanted to keep you.
Okay. Thank you. Appreciate it.
You bet.
All right, Tom asked, what are the benefits of paying for the premium version? There are data limits for profiles that you can view and connect with peers that you connect with every day.
All right, there are some benefits to premium. I don't use it because I don't need it, but it does give you more messages, so that you will be able to talk with more people or connect with more people using a personalized request. It does give you more information when you're in a job search. So when you're in the jobs area and you say that you want a program manager in oil and gas industry, remote only, you can do a search. And as you have information come up to you, the premium is going to give you some information about how close do you match this. You could do a visual on, here's what they're looking for, here's what I've got, here's what I don't have. But It's nice sometimes when LinkedIn lays that all out for you, because it will also say, add these skills to your profile, to your skill section. So it's a nice feature there. Be aware, though, that the results that you get on the jobs page should always be in the order of how closely this job matches the information you've got on your profile page, except when the job is promoted by the hirer. And when it's a promoted job, that means that this company has paid LinkedIn to bring this to the top of your search because they feel that you are just qualified enough to be able to apply for this job. And they guarantee that they are hiring from the outside of the company for this. And they want to move quickly. And if you are at least 80% qualified for this job, they want to hear from you. So if you're taking a look at, wow, I don't have as many matches, there's several skills that I don't have. Well, it's because the hirer is saying, I'm willing to forgive a whole bunch because I'm looking for somebody that's generally got your skills. They are always going to be at the top of your profile because they paid to be at the top of the profile. So keep an eye on that. But company information, skills match on the jobs tab are going to be some of the benefits. The additional messaging capabilities is going to be a plus. And Jeff, anything else you can think of that premium gives you? Oh, AI,
No,
artificial intelligence. Here's a bit of a problem with the artificial intelligence. There will always be a area by your headshot, by your about section, by your experience section, saying, do you want AI to rewrite this? Well, AI has not been particularly strong in this. It is getting better, but the initial use of AI was pretty weak and not particularly engaging or interesting. So LinkedIn is trying to incorporate AI into all of this. The risk of using AI is that suddenly your profile looks exactly like everybody else's because it's the same AI program that is trying to highlight the skills and value for you. Sometimes it's better to do it for yourself and use AI to smooth it out a little bit, but that's one of the areas that LinkedIn is trying to push more.
Julio, you've got your hand up.
Yes, thank you. One of the features in the job section, where if you're showing interest in that company, I've reached a limit that there's a limit of 50 companies. You can highlight that, and then trying to figure out how to remove other companies to make room for newer companies has been a really difficult task because it takes you to a different page that is more of managing your overall account. Do you know of a better or faster way to, unless you do it one at a time and know each of the 50 companies you liked, is there a different way or a better way to do this?
I think that you can stay on the jobs tab and go to this preferences area, because when you're in your preferences, it will give you the job alerts that you have, and it should be both for your jobs and the companies here, in which case you can edit them and then delete that company or that alert that you had set up.
Okay,
So
thank you.
try that and see if that works.
Will do.
All right. Ken asked, I've seen mixed guidance on skills. Some say load up the profile. Other feedback says keep the skill count more focused around 25 to 30. Is there an algorithm difference?
There is an algorithm difference. And on you should have skills, certainly in the headline, because that's the strongest part of the search as far as the algorithm goes. And since the recruiter's using this area only to decide whether they want to talk to you, skills are going to be important there. But in the about section, put as many skills as you possibly can. But when a recruiter sees that you've got my skills include, and then you have 25 skills listed, you've diluted the power of those skills. So keeping those down to 5 key skills in the About section that you're highlighting is going to be important. And let me show you one way of doing that. She's a vice president level, but what she did is that she identified 4 different skills or activities that she felt were important for people to know. So instead of putting it down at the bottom and saying, I am really good at M&A and programming and life cycle, she put a story for each one of them. And it's much more powerful and it's much more useful when you do it that way. So if you think that there are 3 to 5 skills or experiences that you want people to see, put them in the About section. No less than 3. If it's just 1 or 2, then it doesn't have the impact. If it's more than 5, you've watered it down and now they're not as important. But going into let's go back here, to the skills section itself, LinkedIn does allow you to have 100 different skills. Hopefully you don't need 100 skills. But being able to put enough skills in here to be able to showcase what you're good at and how you're going to be utilizing those is important. So make sure you've got at least 8 to 10 interpersonal skills. If you're in an organization that requires tools, technology, anything of that sort, put every one of them in. I don't care if there are 30 of them. But if you have strong skills in a technical area, that comes up high on a search. Industry knowledge is a place that generally tends to get cluttered. But being able to put in at least 20 different industry knowledge skills is going to be important there also. So it is going to vary, but make sure that each one of the skills that you have is one that's needed for your next job, not something you did 10 years ago. And that they are truly skills that are going to be important for a recruiter to see and to search for. And you can always reorder your skills right there so that you put the skills on top that you think are most important for your job search. So the ones at the very bottom, yes, they're important. They might be important for the algorithm. It's something that you need as a precursor to the job. But the ones at the very top, make sure you're putting those up so that when the recruiter opens this up, they'll be able to see the first dozen skills that you have. Make them count. What's more important than this skill section here is where you're attaching the skills to your experience. So being able to attach a skill into a recent experience is going to give you a higher credibility factor. And the algorithm is going to look at a skill in this top section here as being a super skill. This is one where we know that you're using it now, that it's important for your success in that role. Do not put 30 of them here. 8 to 10 would be about the most I would ever want to see in here. Otherwise, it just becomes too cluttered and you've watered down the impact of those skills. That was a lot. Did that cover everything?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
So Ruth, I want to thank you very much for your presentation today. I know a couple people have already dropped off. And if you want to connect with Ruth, here is a copy. Well, this is not her recent banner because she keeps changing it on me every month. But here is an old profile. You're welcome to send Ruth a connection request if you'd like to connect with her. Next week, our speaker is Terry Sullivan. He's going to talk about how to tell your key contacts and prospects who you are, what you do, and how you can help. The presentation will not be recorded. He does not allow the presentation to be recorded. So if you want to watch it, you do need to watch it live and be ready to take some notes because he moves really quickly. So join us next Tuesday at 1 o'clock. Tomorrow, the practice interview team is meeting in person. They're at Christ United Methodist Church up in Plano at Coit and Parker. If you're in the DFW area, please come join them from 1 to 3 o'clock. Just You will learn as much watching somebody else being interviewed and hearing the feedback as you being interviewed yourself. So it's really a great tool. I know they had a big crowd last week. I'm expecting a big crowd again this week. They're in person the first, second, third, and fifth Wednesday of the month. On the fourth Wednesday in the month, in 2 weeks, they will do it online. So anybody who lives outside the DFW area can watch us live online. This Friday at the North Dallas Plano Career Focus Group, Nikki Duncan will be with us. She's going to talk about LinkedIn content strategies, how she's using LinkedIn for her job search. So you can join us this Friday, 9:30 in person or on Zoom. Join the Career DFW or Career USA LinkedIn groups. I started each one when I started the websites. The DFW group has over 16,000 members. You do not need to live in the Dallas-Fort Worth area to be part of that group, but I will look at your profile. And if your profile is not mostly complete, I'm going to go, why are you on your LinkedIn? So, get your profile complete, then get on LinkedIn so people can find you. This session has been recorded. It will be on the Career USA YouTube channel. If you want, please subscribe to the channel. That way, every time we post a new video, you'll find out about it. On the Career USA YouTube channel, click on playlist. Every video I post goes into one of 7 different playlists. And down at the very bottom, we see the red arrow, view full playlist. Click there. If you click on the video, it'll play the video you're seeing. And I don't know if that's the most current one, but if you click view full playlist, up will come a list in chronological order, and then you can go back and watch whatever video you want at your convenience. If you're not receiving emails about our workshops and you'd like to join the Career USA mailing list, just scan this QR code and send me a blank email, or send a blank email to Career USA, the + subscribe at groups.io. You don't need to put anything in the body of the email. Just send that, and groups.io will get you added to the mailing list. I control the list, so you won't be getting spammed with other information, just links to our presentations we're putting out. Please note, Career DFW is a 501c3 nonprofit organization. All of our speakers, Ruth and Terry, and all of our speakers are volunteers. I'm a volunteer. Everything I've done over the last 17 years has just been to help you land your next great opportunity. So thank you very much for joining us today. Ruth, once again, thank you very much. And hopefully we'll see you all later in the week.
Jeff,
Yes.
is Matt with us anymore?
Matt, I don't see him.